My name is Joel.
And I'm Andrene.
And you're listening to Rewind Rewatch, a 90s movie podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode of the Rewind Rewatch podcast, where me and my sister will review a movie from the 90s, discuss the film, how well it aged, and at the end of this and every episode, we will give it a rewind rating of 1 to 5 based on how likely we are to rewatch the movie again in the future. Mm-hmm. This is episode 90-something. I don't remember.
I didn't write it down either.
90-something. 93 maybe? I don't want to guess. And we are going to be discussing Independence Day from 1996.
Mm-hmm. This is a PG-13 film with a 2-hour and 25-minute runtime.
Yes, and I felt all 2 hours and 25 minutes of this. One of the guys, Jeremy, in the Patreon was like, "You guys are covering Independence Day in the middle of November?"
Yeah. And I said, it's wild out here.
Yeah,
we do whatever we want.
Despite the fact that this movie is called Independence Day, it doesn't feel like a holiday movie to me, because it doesn't have anything to do with Independence Day. It's a sci-fi alien movie. Right. Which apparently is what Will Smith loves to do. The last Will Smith movie that we covered for the podcast was Men in Black. And so if my memory is correct, and again, I didn't look this up either, but I believe he did Bad Boys in 95, this movie in 96, and then Men in Black in 97. So sometime around Independence Day, Men in Black is when he quit Fresh Prince and was like, I'm just going to do this now.
No, it's what he likes to do. You know, the one-liners, he loves those.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Fresh Prince, so but this obviously was paying him a lot more money. Before we get into the ins and outs of Independence Day, who requested this movie?
So we have some more lucky ducks out of Georgia. I don't know what's happening here. Georgia is
Georgian takeover.
Is running the podcast right now. So we have a lucky duck, Jeremy, who you just shouted out.
Oh, wow, okay.
And who also got picked last week.
Oh, wow.
So lucky duck.
Yeah, he's feeling himself now. We got to make sure to not pick his movie next week. So we don't want Jeremy getting a big head.
And then also requested by another longtime listener, Jenny, out of Georgia as well.
All right. Georgia is in the house 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let me talk about the director before.
Yes.
I always like to do that.
Course. Yes, you do.
This was directed and also co-written by Roland Emmerich. He's a German film director. He also did...
German guy wrote a movie called Independence Day?
Yeah.
All right, great.
I
did not see that coming, because this movie is...
It's very America.
Very flag-wavy.
Yes, very America. He also did Independence Day Resurgence, that came out in 2016. He did...
I don't even recall this movie having a sequel.
Because it came out forever, 10 years later.
Completely...
So
2016 is 20 years later.
Oh, yeah. So it's, at that point, it's like, why are we even still doing this?
Is Will Smith in it?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that.
All right, whatever.
I heard it was like way worse than this.
Okay.
From what people were saying. I'm
very curious to see how that's possible.
But he also did Patriot. He did The Day After Tomorrow. Also White House Down. He likes a lot of these.
So these are all the exact same movies.
Action
it's like
movies.
Somebody's trying to blow up the White House.
Yeah. Or some kind of natural disaster happens.
Right. Patriot, this is the Mel Gibson, The Patriot?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
So that's like a Civil War movie?
Yeah.
Or a Revolutionary
War movie. That was actually really good. I missed one more that is completely out of this wheelhouse. Eight-Legged Freaks.
That's way out of this wheelhouse. But that's funny. So this is a guy that has basically just like made a career making Americana movies, and he's not from here.
Blockbusters.
Definitely not Blackbusters.
Blockbusters.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since we are going to be talking about Independence Day today, let's start with your one sentence summary.
I thought we were going to do the flag. Salute the flag.
Oh, no.
I pledge allegiance
can you
to the flag. Proud to be in America, where at least I know I'm free.
I mean, that is basically the one sentence summary. But so see if you could top that.
Okay. So you have when aliens threaten mankind, it is up to the American Air Force to band together with non-civilians to fight these extraterrestrial threats.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much.
Sure. There is a lot happening in this 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
Probably more than really needed to, but I think in order to like really talk about this movie, we probably have to contextualize the fact that it was a summer blockbuster. It came out on Independence Day. It has a million different people in it.
Oh, there's so many people.
Like, there's so many, like, Harry Connick Jr., what is he doing in this? And
then,
like, Randy Quaid shows up. I'm pretty sure I saw Andrew Keegan at one point.
Judd Hirsch was there. Whatchamacallit? Kirsten Warren, who plays Alex from Saved by the Bell, the college years. She was Kelly's roommate. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That is...
It was so random.
An amazing shout, because that is not a person I would have remembered.
Yeah.
I remember very little about the college years.
She played Vivica A. Fox's co-worker at the strip club. And she was telling her not to go on the roof.
The one who was like waving signs to the aliens. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of like random, like I said, people in here. Harvey Fierstein, who was in Mrs. Doubtfire as like the gay brother or cousin or something like that. You had the boy who played Nicky from Fresh Prince.
Playing Will Smith's son.
Well, stepson to be.
I guess.
Stepson to be.
Right.
And of course we had, the
I was hoping, what did she say? I was hoping he'd audition for the part.
Oh God. There's a lot to talk about that relationship. I mean,
and Jeff Goldblum's in it.
Yeah, that's your boy. Like, that's... Yeah. When I see him now, I think about you in Jurassic Park.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
It's funny, like, there's so many things that he's done, and yet and still, I always think of Jurassic Park when I see him. I recently, like earlier today, I rewatched Wicked, and I forgot that he played Oz.
Yeah. Completely forgot.
I was like, oh yeah, this guy's in this movie too.
Another random
so
shout
just in things
that I'm sure you didn't know, because I looked her up. The president's daughter, the little girl. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the show Good Girls?
No. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's like these three like suburban housewives who end up like getting involved in illegal activity.
Oh, that show. Yes, I did watch that show.
So the younger of the three...
I was thinking something completely... I completely forgot about that show.
So
that's the one with the girl from
Mad Men.
Yeah.
And also other lady from
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, yes. Yeah. So the other lady we didn't mention, she was the president's daughter in this film.
Okay.
Very random. And the last star is Bill Pullman. He plays the president. He was in Spaceballs, the Equalizer movies. All right. Before we get into like the juice of this movie, the opening sequence already had me rolling my eyes.
Yeah.
Because it starts out and you see like 20th Century Fox, boom. Independence Day, boom. July 2nd, boom. And this boom is everywhere. And I thought I was listening to Funkmaster Flex on Hot 97. I was like, what in the world?
New York City, be clear.
There were so many explosions going off. I said, why is this happening? So already I'm like, okay, they're taking this way over the top. This is what I'm getting myself into. And then, of course, they open up with a single American flag that's planted on the moon. And it's like,
and an inscription of the men that walked on the moon. Mm-hmm. And it's like, look, we try to bring peace to space, and space is fighting back for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, this movie, what's the other movie that we watched that was similar to this? Oh, Armageddon.
Yeah, a lot of parallels.
It's like, this thing from space is coming, and it's going to destroy the entire Earth. And similarly to Armageddon, it is America that saves the day for the entire world.
Yes.
And no one else seems to have a plan. No one else seems to be prepared to do anything other than die until America comes, rallies the troops, and gets other countries to follow their lead. So this is already another movie that's really painting the picture of like America is like the savior of the universe and all mankind. And then we see like people like, they always show these montages of people all over the world, and they're always like very stereotypical.
Yes.
Like the Africans are like running out of their village huts,
scantily clad,
and you know the Asians are all like monks, and they all have on their monk garb, and it's just like, oh look, there's people outside of the U.S. This is what they're doing right now, I guess.
Because even like you said, going back to how everybody else was completely helpless, at the end when the U.S. finally comes up with the plan, they have this British soldier, and he's like, "It's about bloody time that the Americans came up with the plan." Because it's like, well, why didn't you guys come up with the plan? But they were all just like sitting down with their hands, behind their head, waiting for America to tell them what to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was just like, well, if America doesn't figure it out, we're all gonna die.
That's fun.
So that was great. Like you said, this movie is incredibly dramatic and basically starts on July 2nd through July 4th, which is not just Independence Day because we got our independence from Britain, but it's independence from the aliens that are trying to destroy Earth.
Yes.
Maybe I missed this, and I'm wondering if I just missed a detail, and admittedly, I'm probably going to be relying on you a lot for much of the plot of this movie because I was finding it very hard to like stay engaged. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down and watch this silly movie. I know it's going to be very corny, and I'll make myself a nice little drink, and I'll just, giggle my way through it.
I think I should have had a drink when I watched this.
Honestly, I feel like I'm having my drink, I'm watching a movie. After like 30, 45, 50 minutes, I find myself like Googling something, and then I'm getting distracted, and then I'm just like on my computer. and then like the movie's going on in the background, and I'm like, oh, I'm not missing anything. Like nothing's happening.
You're on WhatsApp.
I'm just like doing things. I'm just doing things. Then my wife comes in the room and she's like, oh, I just watched this movie last July. So she starts like bringing up things. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that didn't happen. She's like, yes, it did. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, now I feel like I missed a whole bunch of things.
All right.
So I'm just going to preface that now.
Okay. Well, from the start, let's start there. From the start, we're shown this place in New Mexico. It is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute, which is a real place, actually. And they get this radio signal that appears to be coming from another world. It's coming from the moon, which is obviously not normal. And they're trying to figure out what's going on because the signal, it's different, it's unique, and also like who is sending the signal out? How's it coming to us? And before you know it, there's basically these spaceships that appear in large areas, large cities, and they're as big as a city, they're saying. They're citywide spaceships. And
they said there was a big ship that disseminated a bunch of smaller parts.
Right.
And the smaller parts were all 15 miles wide. So it's like, what?
So the mothership has got to be humongous.
Of course. Absolutely
humongous. So they mentioned ATL, Chicago, Philadelphia, the big cities is what's happening right now. And they're also getting word that it's happening across the world as well, which is why the other countries are also involved in, this huge dilemma. And this is when we get introduced to the president, and he is at the White House. He has his daughter there. His wife is in California doing something else. And they get word that something isn't quite, correct with the signal. It's messing with everybody's television and radios. And he's kind of told, we're not quite sure what's happening with this. What should we do? And I feel like the president was really kind of laid back initially. Like, he kind of just didn't seem too concerned, especially after.
He was more concerned with his approval ratings than
because he was down to like lower than 40%, I believe, something like that. We find out that he used to be,
which we now know is normal.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes nowadays.
Well, people voted him in because he is ex-military. He's supposed to be, this great commander in chief. He has experience as like a fighter pilot. And so they thought he would be, I guess more aggressive with foreign policy perhaps. And he's just not giving the people what it is that they think that they need.
And she said they voted for a warrior and they're getting a wimp.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Which, of course, sets up this redemption arc. Mm-hmm. Because it's obvious that he's going to come and save the day at the end, which, of course, he does in the most dramatic fashion possible, flying a fighter jet into the mothership. So, I guess what I was going to ask is like, and this is, again, why I preface this by like, maybe I just missed this detail, but it was not clear to me exactly why
the aliens were
any
attacking?
of this was happening. It's like, all right, so they've aligned themselves all across the world in a plot to destroy Earth.
So they could live there.
But like, you're going to destroy it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a wasteland and then you're going to live there? And then why did they need to live there?
Because when they were talking to... So basically what ends up happening is they find out that the whole story of Area 51 and the spaceships found in the 50s in Roswell actually did happen because the head of the CIA knew about it. The president didn't know about it. And while they're there...
It's like, why haven't I been told about this? It's like...
Plausible deniability.
It's like, why would I tell you this? Like, why would I tell you this? You're only going to be here for 4 years.
Right, exactly.
I'm not telling you this.
This is a deep government secret. So they end up talking to one of the doctors or scientists that's working with the being in the spacecraft. And the scientist was saying that since the events happened that day, the spacecraft had like opened up and, they had like 2, I guess, deceased aliens that... They said they are very similar to humans in the sense that they can feel cold, they can feel heat, they have ears and they have eyes, but they have no vocal cords. They also breathe oxygen. So I guess the air in Earth would be good for them. I guess wherever they're coming from is no longer livable, so now they need a new place to go.
So they didn't explain it, is what you're saying.
Like, they need a new place to go.
Like, this is what you're talking about, like, because that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, like we've been holding on to these like aliens
since the 50s
that we've had since the 50s. Nobody knows about it. We've been doing research for the past 40 years, and we've learned nothing. Like, we have nothing.
We needed David.
Yes, they did need David.
David is played by Jeff Goldblum. He is this. So his dad calls him like a cable repairman, but I think that was kind of reducing his actual job. It seems that he does a lot of those satellite, I guess, technology. So he's a satellite technician, and he seems to be hyper fixated on something when he's trying to solve it. So when the signal stuff starts happening, no one could quite figure out what's happening. The aliens are shooting out these radars that are causing blackouts. And he realizes that the signal that they're shooting out is basically a countdown. And it's counting down basically 9 hours. By the time he figures it out, they have 6 hours left before the countdown is over. And he suspects at that time, that's when the aliens are going to start launching their attack. No one else in the history of the world has figured this out but this man.
Well, he's American.
Why he just has like a, quote unquote regular job that he's not working in something more serious, we're not quite sure at this moment.
Well, we see him in the first scene that we meet him winning a game of chess. So we already know he's a very smart man.
Mm-hmm. With his pops.
And he's still wearing his wedding band despite not having been with his wife for the past 3 years. And it's just our luck that his ex-wife is an aide for the White House.
Yeah.
So that's a very perfect coincidence. And after he figures this out, he hits her up like, yo, you probably should leave the White House because, like, something really bad is going to happen. And
this is so annoying.
Very annoying. And I literally wrote down the same words. This is so annoying. Because, of course, what happens is that she blows him off. She's like, what are you talking about? We're not together anymore. And I have a job to do, and I'm here to protect the president, blah, blah, blah. She's not CIA. She's not there to protect the president, but whatever. And it's very annoying because it seems like people in movies like these never want to listen to the person who very clearly knows what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. We just saw something similar in Twister where they tried to save that idiot.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you guys are just trying to get me not to get to the tornado." And then of course he dies. So then it's like, so you think because this man is your ex-husband that he's calling you to lie about your potential safety and you may be dying? It's like, what is it worth it to brush him off? What if he's right? Then you died because you just didn't want to listen to him because y'all broke up. Yeah, like it doesn't really make any sense.
Made no sense.
But this is, of course, what she does. And he knows that she's not going to listen to him. So he actually just drives to D.C. And then he calls her like, yo, you at the White House? Look out the window.
Yeah, because he has his... Remember,
he's like, yo, I'm here with my pops. And she's like, what?
His handy-dandy laptop. He's like, I could figure out exactly where in the White House she is.
Of course.
It's like, oh, you got some advanced technology.
And this guy works for MCI, apparently.
He, as a mom would say, he's a brain.
Yeah, he's definitely a brain.
He's mad smart, so
and it's
he
like,
figures it out.
Yeah, how does this guy not have like a super high paying tech job? Like it doesn't really actually make any sense.
I think that kind of goes back to later on in the movie, we see that they're having a conversation about why they split, and his wife basically says that like he didn't seem to have any ambition. Whereas, she wanted to work for the White House and she wanted to, work her way up into her career, and he's just working at a cable company. So she's like, yeah, you're not really doing what it is that I want, in my partner.
Okay, well, I did see that part. And I wrote down because she said, if it makes any difference, I never stopped loving you. Yeah. And basically says she left him because he wasn't ambitious enough. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Like it definitely makes sense to break up with someone who, if they don't have enough ambition. But it doesn't make sense that you would not be listening to him if he says, yo, you're at risk. In any event, we have them. We have the president, we have the president's daughter and his wife. Now we meet Will Smith.
Steven.
Who you already told me when he's in movies, his name is Will Smith. You said this on this very podcast.
Okay.
I'm following your lead.
All right, so Will Smith.
And Will Smith is in a relationship with Vivica A. Fox, who we soon find out is a stripper. We find out that he's military, but he wants to go to NASA. Mm-hmm. He has been applying. It's been his dream. And he gets a rejection letter, which is the most recent of what we can assume is many.
Yeah, it seemed like he's been trying to do this for a while. But see, this whole side story didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Which one?
Well, there's a lot of it, but in particular, like this relationship, because he's in the locker room, he sees the letter, and the fact that NASA is just rejecting you by a letter in your locker seems odd, but okay. I feel like his commanding officer would say something to him. Service. Yeah, like
so somebody collected the letter, and then they was like, "Yo, we don't know where Will Smith is at. Let's just have it sticking outside his letter where anyone can grab it." So they didn't even slip it inside the locker. No. They just had it sticking out. Like, all right.
I was like, this doesn't seem very official.
It's the trust system,
I don't think this is how the military works, but okay. So he gets the letter.
Somebody's playing a prank on him. They just got like the
NASA the letterhead.
Yeah, that's all they had.
That's crazy.
And they just wrote the letter themselves like, "Dear Will Smith, you've been rejected. Try again next year." So
Harry Connick Jr.'s character is also like, one of those captains who flies alongside with Will Smith. And Will Smith, like you said, is dating Jasmine, who is an exotic dancer. And Harry Connick Jr.'s character basically says to him, like, man, you can never get into NASA, if you marry her. And I was like, what? Like,
I don't know.
So you mean to tell me that he was qualified, he passed all the tests, allegedly, based on his logic, and the reason why he's not going to get it is because his wife is a stripper? Or girlfriend?
Or we're supposed to draw from this that his friend is an idiot. I don't know which one. I don't know which one it is.
Because I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. And I mean, there were a few things in the movie that, and again, like, I don't have any military experience at all, but I still didn't buy it. Like, when Will wakes up in the house with Jasmine and he finds out what's going on, he gets a phone call basically saying that he needs to report to El Toro, which is a Marine Air Force base. And he's like, yeah, I got to go out there. And she's pissed.
Big man.
She's like, I thought you were on leave. Can't you call back and tell them no? And I'm like, do you not know how the military works?
No.
You can't call back your commanding officer and be like, yeah, nah, I already put in leave. I can't make it. So that, again, was like, these women are pissing me off because it doesn't make any sense. Okay, that already annoyed me.
She didn't want him to go, dog. They was laid up still.
It doesn't matter. There's literally aliens outside your window. He has to go and report.
She also didn't seem that concerned about it. It was like, yo, this is weird, but you still going to leave?
Well, she opened the window and was like, that's why you can't leave. I mean, she did say that's why, but it's also like...
No, that's exactly why
That's why he has to leave.
I work for the Marines. Who else is going to fix this? Like, who else is going to fix this?
I'm American, so I have to do this. So that happens, and then he's like, well, I'm going to go, but he's like, all right, how about, you... And I'm going to call him Nikki because I don't know his name.
Little man.
How about you and Nikki, pack up your bags and then just come meet me on the base? And I'm like, wait a minute.
She's like, all right, that sounds good.
This is not your wife. This is a girl that you're seeing. And she's going to come on the base and stay with you? That's not how that works.
So this is why I was confused. Because at first, as the movie began, I thought, oh,
that was his wife.
I thought this was his wife and his child. And not until later when he's in the locker room with Harry Connick Jr.
with the NASA letter.
And the dolphin ring drops. The dolphin ring drops. And then he's like, whoa, Big Daddy. I don't know why he kept calling him Big Daddy.
I hated that nickname. I hated it.
There was a lot of Big Daddies. It was a lot of Big Daddies. I was sad to see him go. But I was like, at least I'm not going to have to hear Big Daddy anymore.
Oh, the way he went to, I got to talk about that, but...
Yes, there's a lot about Harry Connick Jr. to talk about. So I'm like, oh, he hasn't even proposed to this woman yet.
No.
And it sounded like he wasn't even sure he wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was kind of like, yeah, because his man's even asked him, like, yo, you got a ring? Like, what's good? He's like, oh, I just got it because, she likes dolphins or whatever, but I'm just thinking about it. It's like, bro, like, why are you being so cagey? Like, do you want to marry this woman or not?
What's this?
Oh, that's nothing.
Hold on, man. What is this?
Jasmine kind of has a thing for dolphins. I don't know.
Stevie, this is a wedding ring.
Why are you buying a ring if you don't want to marry her?
Yeah, it was like he seemed very unsure about her until the world was about to end, and then it was like, yes, let's get married.
Well.
Which, fine, I guess. But yes, to your point, why would he have even bought a ring if he wasn't sure about this woman? So yeah, this entire love story doesn't really make
it. It did nothing for me, to be honest.
So then later, since we're talking about Jasmine,
we gotta talk about her last day at work.
Well, her last day at work, she brings her son and her dog.
Boomer.
She brings her son and her dog to the strip club and just says, baby, just wait in the back. I gotta get my last paycheck.
And I'm watching this strip club and I was like, girl, there's 5 people in this strip club.
The world's about to end.
Oh, that's true.
Why would anyone be in the strip club?
The first time I was watching
should have been 0 people in there.
And I was just like, where does she work? Because there's nobody here, but you're right. Like, why is anybody in here?
There's literally an alien ship hovering above the sky.
Yeah, so why she went to work, I don't know.
She's like, I got to get my last check. We might all die, but I still got to get my last check, just in case.
So then she tells Saved by the Bell college years. That's what we're doing this episode. We're just doing this college years. She tells her like, oh, like, because she's like, oh, isn't this exciting? This is so cool. And she's like, I mean, not really. This is kind of scary. And she's like, yeah, look at the sign that I made, like welcoming the aliens. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the top of the roof like afterwards and to go like say hello or like, this is so exciting. And she's like, this seems kind of dangerous. Maybe you shouldn't do it. And she says to her, like, promise me you won't go out there. She's like, oh, fine, I promise. And we all knew watching the scene, she was not going to pay attention to that.
As soon as Jasmine left the club, she was like, I'm going up
yes.
there. Immediately. It wasn't even like a hesitation. She didn't think twice about it.
No. And I'm watching this scene and I'm like, this just goes to show you how dumb humans are. And I watched this, I think it was like right after, my husband and I recently watched the most recent Jurassic Park movie on Peacock. And the whole movie we're going, why are people like this? Why are people like this? Just making terrible decisions over and over again. And this kind of reminded me of that type of thinking.
I mean, the fact that there are like 7 Jurassic Park movies is proof positive that people make terrible decisions over and over again. The entire basis of the Jurassic Park universe is humans thinking they're smarter than they are. Mm-hmm. There should not have been more than one movie, but no, humans continue to make more mistakes.
That's
and then
realistic.
It's like, oh man, again, this happened. I can't believe it. I never saw it coming. Yeah, they're dinosaurs, you idiot.
So she's on top of the roof with all these other dummies, and they're like, yeah, take me. What?
Yo, to be honest, that might have been the most realistic part about this movie. I'm like, yo, that is 100% what would happen if aliens showed up.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, it would. And they're all screaming, and then at some point you see that particular alien.
And why do you have signs like you're going to TRL?
They're
like I don't understand.
Or WWE.
Yeah, you got a WWE sign. Alien 316. What's going on here? You don't even know that the aliens speak English.
That's true.
They might not even be able to read the sign.
But they're smarter than us, so we're assuming that they can communicate with us. So at this point, that spaceship starts to open up, and everyone's just like in awe. Like everyone's eyes are open, their mouths are open. They're like, "Oh, this is fantastic." Now this is the part where I'm just like, you see this bright ass light coming out of this thing. You don't think perhaps it might be a weapon at all? There's no part of your brain that flight or fright who's like, oh, maybe I should get out of here.
Heaven's Gate, baby.
Oh,
you know Heaven's Gate.
So you have those dummies on top of the building. You also have people who are just walking down the street who see another part of town that the thing open. Everybody just stops and they're looking. And I'm like, no one wants to run until after it's too late.
There's no way
I see a big ass spacecraft opening up its maw, and I'm just like, oh, this is so great.
You wouldn't have been up on that roof either.
Oh, hell no. There's no way.
So actually, this actually is a question I did want to ask you. Let's say aliens show up. There's big spaceships hovering above DC. Mm-hmm. You see it out your window. What do you do? Where do you go?
I'm going to be with family if I can. So like you live close, so I'll probably be like, yo, like this might be the end. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go try to get to the nearest family I can, and then be like, I mean, this is it. This is it. I can't outrun it.
Play a little Uno until it all ends.
You know, throw on some Seinfeld.
Fire up your favorite episode of The Office. Watch The Deposition one last time.
I'll watch Hamilton one more time, probably. You know, like what are you gonna do? So yeah, but I also don't think that going to the top and saying "take me" is the answer.
Nah,
like that's not.
I mean, I feel like if I was actually to get in my car and try to run, which a lot of people tried to do in this movie, I think they're in LA.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you are, like if you're like living in South Dakota, you probably straight.
It's over for them because LA already the traffic is bad where you can't drive anywhere. Mm-hmm. So we see what happens to Jasmine when she tries to get in the car. It's like you can't even move because there's so many cars on the road. But I do feel like that would be the best plan is to go somewhere like West Virginia where there's not going to be a huge spaceship above the skyline. Mm-hmm. Nebraska, Oklahoma, somewhere where they're not paying as much attention. Not DC, not New York, not LA.
We're going to Delaware.
You got to go. You got to go somewhere that's not going to be on the alien radar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
West Virginia is not that far.
So Jasmine, okay, Jasmine and Nikki and Boomer. So they realize we're not going anywhere, and then this is where the spaceship starts going ham and just firing people, buildings, it's just people are getting burned everywhere. And so she decides, I gotta make a run for it. So there's a part where she decides, she gets in the car, she starts running, she turns around and sees the fire like coming towards her, and then next thing I know, she's running past all these other people. She's carrying a child, and she's running faster than like these men that like have nothing in their arms.
She wants it more.
And also there's a whole idea of like the mom trying to save their kid, and okay, I'll give that to you.
She wants it more, baby.
So she runs past all of them, they're in this tunnel, and she realizes, I cannot outrun this thing. What am I gonna do? She sees this side door in the tunnel, and then she kicks. Of course, at the very last moment she kicks, she gets in. Boomer almost gets burned. A lot of like,
just like Twister all over again.
A lot of close pet calls in these movies.
This is all like Twister all over again.
And Boomer at the last second gets in, and I'm like, no one else saw or even thought to be like. So she gets in there, and somehow miraculously she's alive, which I didn't buy that, but okay.
Well, she's an important character.
So she lives. So she gets out. She's with Nikki, and throughout the way, like she ends up finding other survivors who are badly injured. And who does she find but the president's wife? She did not get out of California in time, although her husband told her to go. And she said, I will in a second. I have like a couple more like press conferences or interviews. And I'm just like, again, I don't understand.
Yeah, cancel them.
Your husband said you need to get out of the city. And she's like, oh yeah, after the press con. What? And
there's very little urgency until they start blowing stuff up.
But even the president, because even when they said that they couldn't get past there was some weird signals going on, and they realized that like they're communicating with each other. He doesn't send his daughter down into the bunker, and I'm like, why is this little girl out here? Like, it wasn't until they were like, oh, Mr. President, like we have to get you out of here, and at that moment, the spaceship was about to like fire on the White House. And they left out before, like, the Air Force One starts taking off, and it just hits the air before, the Gulf of Flames. And I'm just like, what? You're the president. You should have been underground.
Nah, yeah. And it's also, they only leave because David shows up and basically, like, tells them the whole thing. So then it's like, David doesn't show up, and he's really only there for his ex-wife. Mm-hmm. Then he ends up saving the president. Air Force One just barely escapes. The other thing is when Jasmine gets to whatever this place,
El
Toro, it's a wasteland.
Yeah.
And she gets there by like driving a pickup truck. Not a pickup truck, it's
like a huge truck, like a
18-wheeler. So I'm like, okay, she knows how to drive one of these things.
You gotta learn.
And she's like saving people along the way. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is the rags to riches. This is like the stripper girlfriend that was being ridiculed is now an American hero. Mm-hmm. She's saving lives. And this is when she runs into the first lady, who at first she doesn't tell her that she knows who she is.
I didn't recognize her at first.
No, I had no idea.
I was like, who's this lady? Okay, cool.
But she's like, she's like, brings her son over like later that evening. Oh, baby, come here. Meet the president's wife. And she's like, oh, you know who I am? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to say it first. So it's like, yeah, you're the first.
Yeah, why would she not know who you are?
Did you think that people didn't know? You thought you were like a C-list celebrity?
That was a weird line. But then she says to her, like...
That was a weird line.
Then she says to her, like, what do you do? And she said, oh, I'm a dancer. And she's like, oh, ballet? And she said, no, exotic. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, I'm not. I was like, what is this? What was that conversation?
She's not sorry.
No, I'm not saying she should be. I'm just saying the whole conversation was just like, why are we even doing this? Like, I didn't get why that profession had any real meaningful role to play in this film.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
guess it was supposed to be like, this is the reason that Will Smith isn't sure he wants to marry her. It's like, I guess he loves her, but he doesn't know if he wants to marry a stripper. I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws, but the entire love story, the entire family really didn't need to be in the movie. It could have just been this guy who's doing whatever. But then he had to, like, at the end of the day, when he saves the world, he has to have someone run towards him and give him a hug and a kiss. So that's really the only purpose she serves, is really just for the last scene. Everything else is just setting it up.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you're an American hero, you need to have a woman running to your arms at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a part of what needs to happen.
That's true.
I mean, Armageddon all over again.
That's true. We didn't really get, like, a big 90s movie kiss.
Yeah, I was looking for that.
So it wasn't really that kind of movie.
Yeah.
The final shot is him holding his soon-to-be son, I guess. Well, no, they did get married right before he left.
Mm-hmm.
They got married in the hospital chapel, which also, when I talk about not paying close enough attention to this movie, this is probably the biggest detail that I completely missed. And then I had to, like, go back and watch this.
Of them getting married?
No.
Oh.
The first lady did not realize that she
died.
Dead.
Oh, that's the thing. Like,
I was like, wait, what? She died? And that's when my wife was like, were you watching the movie? And I was like, I don't remember her dying. I remember her going in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see her die, but they basically say she's going to. And then, like, the little girl's like, is Mommy going to get some rest or something? And he's like, yeah.
And he said, she was like, what happened to Mom? She's like, oh, your mom's sleeping. So I'm like, so you're not going to tell her?
Yeah,
You're not going to tell her that her mom's dead?
Yeah.
You're just going to be like, Mom's sleeping a lot. She just refuses to wake up, babe.
Yeah.
And then even after he talks to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, we did what we could, but, like, we're not going to be able to save this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes and talks to his wife.
He tries to lie to her.
And they're hugging and kissing and holding and embracing. And then she's like, he says, like, oh, yeah, I talked to the doctors. Everything's going to be fine. I'm like, wait, what's happening?
She's like, you're a terrible liar.
So you tried to lie to your wife about her dying, and then you lied to your daughter. To what end?
Yeah, because I'm like, what if she had something like a final thing she wanted to say to you? Why would you take that away from her?
Everything's going to be fine. And then she dies 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, dog. Like, this is exactly why your ratings are so low. You're an idiot. I wouldn't want you leading my country either.
Yeah, so that whole thing, with the wife dying anyway, I was like, okay, fine, I guess. There was a lot of things that were just unnecessary, or like they brought it up, but it didn't come back around. Now, we mentioned David briefly. I want to just kind of talk about him for a second, in the sense that earlier on in the film, when he's trying to figure out what's going on with these signals, what I noticed about him is that he just has a complete lack of awareness of what's going on around him, because he's in the office. First of all, he rides his bicycle into the office, and then he's in his office trying to figure out what's going on with these signals. Every other person in the building is watching the news on the television, which is talking about the aliens and the spacecraft. He comes over, he's like, look at this, the signal says blah, blah. And they're like, David, do you even know what's going on right now? And he's like, huh, what? And they're like, look at the television. And I'm like, you didn't notice everybody in your office was watching the television about these spacecrafts?
Nah, to me, it came off as like, whatever I got going on is more important than everyone else. And it's just like, whatever I'm doing is more important than whatever you guys are doing, and I'm smarter than everyone, so I actually don't really have to pay attention to what you guys are doing. That's kind of how it came across to me.
Okay.
Which, of course, does mean that you're, like, lacking awareness, spatial awareness at least. But it also just came across as, like, I don't take anybody here seriously because I'm smarter than them.
Yeah, so once he's finally there and we learn about, the spacecraft that we've had from the 50s and all that, this is where David is basically trying to figure out, like, how can we possibly stop this attack happening? And he gets the brilliant idea that if he plants a virus on the mothership, then basically it will have...
the protective shield will be disabled.
Right, so all the other little spacecrafts, little compared to the mothership, of course, would have no protective covering, and will be able to fire on them at that point and take the aliens down. And it just, what bothered me about David was, after he figures this out, he does this presentation where he asks one of the majors, he's like, okay, he places a can of, like, Coke on top of the spacecraft.
Product placement.
And he's like, all right, I'd like for you to take this gun and shoot that bottle off of the spacecraft. And the major goes to do so, and the spacecraft has the shield come up to protect it. And so the bullet ricochets off of the field and starts like shooting around.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, my fault. My fault.
And they're inside of like an enclosed space. They're not outside. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you could have just got someone killed.
Yeah.
You could have gotten yourself killed to make a point.
To make a point. The point would have been made.
I was like, why did he do that?
Hey, whoa, what are you doing?
He's like, oh, sorry. So I was like,
My
what?
bad, y'all.
And the president has his daughter there for some reason. I mean,
bring your daughter to work day.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand. So okay, fine. Then he plants a virus on that particular ship to show now the shield is not there. They're able to shoot it down. He's like, see, without the virus is there, they'll have no shield. Blah blah blah. Fine. He picks up, rather quickly how these spaceships work. He learns that they have like, I guess, windows that can be covered. And I'm like, how does he know so much about this spacecraft in about 10 minutes?
And he was like piss drunk like 5 minutes ago.
No, I was talking about David. He wasn't drunk. He was drunk?
Yeah, remember he got like super upset and he was like drinking. His dad found him in the lab. And then his dad was like, what are you doing? And then his dad was like, you look like you're sick, like you're coming down with something.
Oh,
and that's when he comes up with the idea for the virus.
Oh,
so it's like, as soon as his dad said that, he just completely sobered.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. So I want to make sure I get this right. So the plan here was we're going to fly this alien ship that we have had access to
since 1950.
We're going to get Will Smith to fly it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go up there with him. We're going to transmit the virus into the mothership after we've docked in the mothership. Mm-hmm. The virus will turn off the protective shield, mm-hmm. which will disable the protection to the other alien ships that are all around the world. Mm-hmm. Then we'll plant a bomb to blow up the mothership while we're docked inside and get away mm-hmm. in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. Because in 30 seconds, the bomb will explode, and if we get caught inside of it, then we'll die, too. Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah.
The one thing... Let me rephrase that. One of the things that I was also confused by was the movie starts on the 2nd, it ends on the 4th when they pull this plan off, which, of course, they pull it off. But at the beginning, we see when college years gets blown up, mm-hmm. there are explosions all throughout the world, presumably. The White House gets blown up. And I'm like, okay, so they've already started attacking the world.
For 2 days.
So they blow a bunch of stuff up and then they just chill for the rest of the night. And then they were like, we'll be back tomorrow.
They have to recharge.
But it's like, why did they like blow up a bunch of stuff and then just like stop? But they're still just hovering in the air. They're still just hovering in the sky for the entire movie.
That's true.
So I'm like, wait, why did they stop? Because then it's like, yo, we got away. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes to sleep. So like the whole rest of the night, they don't blow up anything else. And then the next day, they're like, all right, yo, let's get the fighter jets. Like, let's go get them. It's like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. They could have just been blowing stuff up all night long. And then everyone would have just died. So it's like, yo, we gave you like a warning blow up. It's like a warning explosion. This is just intent.
You're right, because the timer was at 0. Like their timer was at 0 already. So why didn't they just keep shooting?
It's like, yo, we're blowing up the White House as a statement of intent, and we will be back later for the rest.
I think they had to recharge because even when they got close, when Will Smith and David are close to the mothership, they get drawn in. So I think it's just kind of like, oh, come in. Maybe they have to like refuel. I don't know. And then once it's charged up again, they can go back out for another.
Okay.
I guess aliens run out of fuel as well, so why not?
So I feel like there's 3 different objects here, though. I feel like there's like the mothership, which is like the big kahuna, mm-hmm. and then you have like these smaller motherships, which are like the ones that are 15 miles wide, mm-hmm. and then you have like the little fire jets, which is the little fighter jets rather, which is what Will Smith is flying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the smaller ships, they never went back. Like they were still there the whole time. And it's not until, because remember, on day 2, July 3rd, is when Big Daddy dies. Because they all try to go up there
to fire at it.
Jets to fire at it, and it basically doesn't work because that's when they figure out, oh, they have this big protective shield over them.
Right.
So not until Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum go to the mothership to turn off the shield are they able to shoot down all the smaller ships.
Right.
But the smaller ships never leave. So there's no recharge.
Like, you're right. They were just sitting there hovering.
They're just like, yo, like, we'll kill y'all in a second.
Tell us when to get it. Yeah. I don't know. But since you mentioned Big Daddy.
Yeah. He was kind of blowing.
Why did he die? I didn't understand this. So.
Why did he die?
Yeah, because.
They were getting shot at.
No, but listen. So you have Will Smith and the rest of the other Marine air pilots, whatever. They're out there, they're fighting, they're all working together, and they realize at one point that like they're outnumbered, they're not like they're losing a lot of men. So they get the order to, of course, abort. And of course, Will Smith's character is kind of just like, yeah, rap, I'm gonna keep going. Well, they lose radio connectivity. He didn't hear whatever. He keeps going. So now it's him and Big Daddy, and they're flying around, and Big Daddy says to him, yo, watch this. And Will's like, don't do anything stupid. He's like, you know me. He said, that's why I'm telling you not to do anything stupid. The next thing you know, he starts like going to a crazy high altitude. And Will's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, stop. You won't be able to breathe. I think breathe at that altitude or keep the speed at that altitude or something. And he doesn't listen to him. He starts going mad high up for God knows what reason. And then next thing you know, he takes off his mask. He's like, oh, I can't breathe. And he's like, put your mask back on. Put your mask back on. And I was just like, but the fact that he says, watch this, and then he died, I was like, what is he doing?
I thought he was Usher. That's crazy.
That's why I was like, why did he? It wasn't like, okay, the rest of the guys just died doing what they were trying to do, but it was like, you intentionally said, watch this, and then died. What was he doing?
I don't really know, man.
That blew me.
I don't really know.
Because I'm thinking maybe I missed something, and I was like, no, I didn't miss something. He just, like, I don't know what he was doing.
Listen, I think we all missed something.
So
I also feel like he was like, I don't know if this is just how he sounds because he's Southern, because he's from like New Orleans or something, but it almost sounded like he was like doing it, like putting on a black voice. And then at one point, he was like impersonating Martin Luther King. I was like, what's happening here?
He said,
I didn't enjoy that.
He said something like the preacher always says or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah.
As the good Reverend would say, why we're on this particular mission, we'll never know. But I do know here today that the Black Knights will emerge victorious once again.
And I was like, what?
Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
I didn't want Harry Connick Jr. doing Martin Luther King Jr. Like, I want to keep my juniors separate. I didn't want anything to do with that.
Oh, your juniors separate?
Nah, yeah, please, keep my juniors separate. The dude from My Wife and Kids, Harry Connick, keep them all separate.
What about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, my God. Oh my God. So this also reminds me of when they go into the mothership and they go to upload the virus. This reminded me of in Mission Impossible, where they're able to access that secret list, because he goes and types in his computer and it says across the screen, uploading virus.
With like the cross and skull bone.
Bro, I'm pretty sure that's not what it looks like. I'm not a computer hacker. I've never uploaded a virus, but I'm pretty sure your computer doesn't say uploading virus.
It would have the virus name. It would say some kind of, I'm sure it's technical jargon.
And then, of course, it had like the little ticker that shows like the percentage. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it's almost there.
You have to do
the
that.
Virus is almost complete.
You have to do that. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, of course, by the end, they're able to upload the virus. The plan works. Everybody's, all the other ships are now disabled. The fighter jets go in, but not before they enlist a bunch of regular Joe Schmoes from off the street, because apparently all of the people in the Marines and the Air Force had already died on July 3rd.
Yeah, because the El Toro base was done, but now they're in Washington, D.C., so I don't know
what's going on.
What happened to the Andrews
So they're
Air
just
Force
like,
base?
yo, can you fly? All right, come with us. And then the president himself, and mind you, his entire cabinet is dead. The vice president, the joint chiefs, they have all died.
Yeah.
He is like the only member of the government that's still around. His wife is not even alive.
Where is the bunker? Where is the bunker?
And he's like, you know what? Y'all going up there? I'm going up there too. I'm like, so nobody's going to stop him? Nobody's going to be like, sir, we're not letting you go.
I think David's ex-wife tried to stop him.
He's like, yo, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, I have to do this. This is for all humankind. He gives a very rousing speech.
He does.
And then...
It was very on the nose.
Yeah, we will not go quietly into the night, he says. Mm-hmm. And then he gets in a fighter jet and is just like, yo, let's go. He's joined by a guy named Russell.
Yo, Russell.
Who's played by Randy Quaid, who I remember for being Cousin Eddie in National Lampoon's Vacation. But he is basically like this neurotic guy who says that he was abducted by aliens 20 years ago, and everyone thinks that he's just like the town fool. Come to find out, he must have been telling the truth all along, and this is his opportunity to get some payback. And so he is also up there. It's Russell and the president and a bunch of other guys, and they all just fly, and they're able to do what they have to do. I don't know, whatever.
Well, the thing about Russell that talking about things that didn't make a lot of sense. When you're watching movies, typically for the pod especially, it's like I'll write down things that are on the front end of the movie thinking that it's going to come back around. And one thing that I noted was that Russell has 3 children, and one of his children is like very ill. His son is very sick. And they keep talking about how like the son needs medication. It's a whole thing. Matter of fact, when they first show up to Washington, D.C., he's asking for help because his son might die. And I'm thinking like, is this going to come back around and something going to happen with the son? And like, it just never comes back. Like
I assumed I missed it because I didn't really understand.
The son was just sitting down later on, like waiting with everyone else. And I was like, so why did he have all this stuff about the son being sick if it's not integral to the story at all?
It doesn't even get like closed out.
No.
It's just like, his son's
like,
there
he's
and his son
now.
is still sick. I don't know.
So I'm like, that didn't make any sense. But then what really bothered me about it was like you said, like Russell used to be in the military. He was actually in Vietnam. He used to fly. And he keeps telling people I was abducted. Nobody believes him. But at the very moment where they're enlisting people to help, he says, take me. I've been wanting to get back with these aliens for a while. And he says, I was abducted by them back in the day. As he's saying this, soldiers are looking at him and like rolling their eyes. And I'm like, y'all still don't believe him?
There are literally aliens in the sky.
That enraged me because they're looking at him like, oh, this is like crazy old Maurice. And I'm like,
Maurice.
You're literally about to go and fight aliens. There's alien spaceships hovering all over the world. And you're still looking at him like, oh, this guy.
All right. So I feel like this whole movie is just like trying to have like a bunch of like cheesy one-liners. So when Harry Connick wasn't calling Will Smith Big Daddy, well, actually he does say it in this line too, but he's getting in the fighter jet and he says, "Let's kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy."
God.
I didn't really understand what that was about, but it was definitely giving me very like Armageddon vibes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Armageddon vibes in here.
I'm just like, yeehaw, let's kick some ass.
Yeah, like when the drunken pilot, he says, "All right, you alien assholes, in the words of my generation, up yours!
Up yours!"
Like, okay.
Didn't he die?
Yeah.
Okay.
He saved mankind.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Yeah.
Your dad was a very brave man.
Yeah. Then there's also when Will Smith, so when he first is able to take down a spaceship, he he walks over to the spaceship and there's an alien that is still partially alive that tries to attack him. He punches the alien out and he says, "Welcome to Earth." And then he sits down, takes out a cigar, starts to smoke it. And he's like, "Now that's what I call a close encounter." Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth is probably like the most memorable thing about this movie because it's so, I don't even know. It's very 90s action blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like very ridiculous. And then at the end, like I said, there's no big 90s movie kiss, but he is holding his son, little Nicky, and he's like, "Didn't I promise you fireworks?"
Yeah.
Roll credits. End of film.
Mm-hmm.
I really had a hard time finding a theme of this movie. And I feel like the only theme that I came up with was just the overall theme of American bravery. Which, again, this German guy is like hitting us over the head with repeatedly. From the Will Smith of it all to the president's speech to the opening shots of the moon landing to the president flying a fighter jet at the end. Like, it was all just very like, look how brave these Americans are. They're going to fight extraterrestrial creatures and save mankind.
Yeah.
I struggle to find any other point to this movie. There isn't really anything that I could look at and say like, oh, the characters learned this or they drew this conclusion. I don't know. There wasn't like a lot of character growth. It's just a popcorn action movie. I don't know. Maybe you found something I didn't find.
So I did have that as far as like the unity of mankind against the looming threat of the aliens.
The unity of mankind as long as America takes the lead.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was thinking like they kind of did band together people of different ethnicities, occupations, backgrounds. Like you had like, you know, people who have drunk, crazy people. The president was up there. You had actual...
He wasn't crazy though. That's the whole thing.
Seemingly crazy people. They all were like had different types of back. Not to mention, like the guy was wasted before getting into into the sky.
Well, what we know about this this universe, the Independence Day universe, is that you could sober up at the drop of a dime.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because it happens at least twice. So
another thing that I pulled out was throughout the film, Will Smith's character keeps saying over and over again, "It ain't over till the fat lady sings." That's something that he said like at least 3 times. And I guess a positive message would be, you know, not to count yourself out and to keep hope alive until the very last minute, because he and David thought they were going to be dead. They thought they weren't going to be able to make it out. And then the last moment, they were able to disengage from the mothership and get out, you know, seconds before it explodes and survive. So again, that's very silly, but it's kind of the only other thing I could pull out outside of the unity theme.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an action flick. What do you want?
You're right. Now, despite that, I do feel like we've covered other action movies that we were able to draw more from. So I wouldn't just say
That's
like
true.
All action movies are just completely themeless, but this is a specific type of action movie. Like this is like an action movie that is not trying to do anything other than have action. It is definitely made for families on vacation to go to the movies and watch on a Friday night, or whenever day of the week Independence Day was this year. And yeah, it's very popcorn flick. It's not trying to win any awards other than maybe like sound effect awards or costume awards. Some of the fighter jet scenes reminded me a lot of like Star Wars. It's like this is like a Star Wars movie, but it's just set in America instead of like a galaxy far, far away. Let's get some facts before we go into our rewind ratings.
So you mentioned as far as awards, it won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects.
That was close.
Yeah. All right. And it won a Grammy for the soundtrack. The script took 3 weeks to write, the first draft. And then after he did some more tweaking, it was done in around 4. So, as Joel shrugs.
Sure. I mean, whatever, man. Don't think too hard about it.
You're just having a good time. The Fox execs weren't initially thrilled about using the title Independence Day. They wanted instead to use the title Doomsday. But basically, there's a line that we talked about where Bill Pullman has this humanity-rousing speech where he talks about how this is, basically the world's Independence Day from aliens. And they basically use that to show, like, how this would affect their preferred title. Like, look, it's right there in the speech. It's perfect. So that's kind of what they did, and it worked. Fox agreed to using that title.
Movie title in the script, baby.
Got to do it.
Strikes again.
So there's a scene, like, early on in the movie where there's a helicopter, I guess called, like, the welcome wagon. It's, like, the first one that is sent to try to communicate with the spaceship where those guys get blown up, essentially. And they have, like, a bunch of lights on either side of the wings. And they were filming it out in California, and apparently people in Orange County saw this thing hovering overhead with all these lights. And apparently there were over 150 calls made to authorities where residents reported a UFO.
Of course.
Because they were like, what is that in the sky?
Well.
And it was just Hollywood magic, baby.
Hollywood magic.
And they didn't realize that. Jeff Goldblum, your boy, apparently when it came to him, more than half of his lines were improvised. If you notice, when he and Will Smith are stuck and they can't get the spaceship out, he says, must go faster, like when they're trying to get out before the explosion hits. He first said those words in Jurassic Park when he was sitting on the back of that, the Jeep, and the dinosaur was chasing them, and it says, must go faster. But apparently, he was improvising it. That was not part of the script. And he told GQ in an interview that apparently Spielberg was pissed off because he was like, bro, you said that in my movie.
That's funny.
So he wasn't too happy about that. This was a nod to the 1953 movie The War of the Worlds, which was also a sci-fi movie. That movie was adapted from H.G. Wells' classic 1898 novel. And, very similar type of situation where the world's coming to an end, there's aliens involved. They also had a War of the Worlds movie with Tom Cruise, which we've seen. That movie was better than this one, in my opinion.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was.
I do remember reading that book when I was a kid, though. It was probably like an abridged version for children, but I remember having like a hardcover copy of War of the Worlds. So I've read it before, but I don't think I've seen any of those movies.
So apparently the U.S. military had initially agreed to support this film. They wanted to they were going to like offer them access to like military facilities and like real life officers and like all that stuff. But according to the film's producer and co-writer, the military withdrew its support after learning about the script's multiple references to Area 51 being a hub for extraterrestrial projects.
They're like, we weren't planning to let that get out.
Yeah, so they were like, nah, we're not.
We got to pull out our support.
We don't agree. We don't agree with that. So, yeah.
Otherwise, people are going to know.
Right?
It's actually
you got to keep it quiet.
Fiction.
The president doesn't even know, man.
That's right.
No one knows.
That's right.
All right. I guess it's time for their rewind ratings.
I mean,
rewind.
If it wasn't clear,
how you felt about this movie?
If it wasn't clear from everything that I've said from the beginning of this podcast till now, this was not it for me. I expected this to be a bad movie coming in. And it's a part of the reason I picked it, because I'm like, all right, like this is going to be bad, but it'll at least give us something to talk about. And watching the movie, I just felt myself like losing interest and paying very little attention throughout, which was not a great sign. And I feel like it didn't even have enough of things to like, for me to like laugh at and make fun of. It was just like, it was so over the top. And it's like there's a lot of things happening, but a lot of it feels inconsequential. I'm like, can we just get to the point? Like, this didn't need to be 2.5 hours. Mm-hmm. I feel like they were like kind of dragging it. So I think the fact that like the movie's not very good, the script's very cheesy, it's way too long. I was watching this movie specifically to talk about it on this podcast, and I still couldn't pay enough attention to it. I really don't see myself ever watching this again. Certainly not for leisure. Not unless we do some sort of like anniversary episode 10 years from now. I don't know under what circumstance I would possibly watch this movie again. So it has to be a one rewind. Like, it just has to be.
Yikes.
Like, I don't see any reason why I would put myself through another 2.5 hours of this.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about what you said about so much happening, but a lot of it just being completely inconsequential. We didn't even talk about the fact that Will Smith captures an alien that's actually alive, and they try cutting it open, and the alien attacks them. It's this whole thing. Because again, like when that happened, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna learn something about these aliens when they do this procedure and try to cut it open. Bruh. And all that ends up happening, the alien. First of all, they try cutting it open. The alien is not dead. Why they're doing this, I don't know. The alien jumps up, kills half of them, and then ends up wrapping its tentacles around the doctor's throat and is talking through the doctor's vocal cords.
Yeah, because they don't have vocal cords. That's the only way he could communicate.
But we
telepathically through this doctor's seemingly dead body.
But we didn't really need it because like all the alien ended up saying was like basically like they want to kill the humans. Like it wasn't saying anything like where it was like, oh, this makes sense.
Because it was like, oh, maybe we'll get some insight into like why they're doing this. And somebody asks the alien,
the president,
what is it you want us to do? And the alien says, die.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? The whole point of this? The whole point of all of this? Yeah, I don't know. Like, they could have just blown everything up on July 2nd. Like, it doesn't. Anyway.
Yeah, so all that to say, it's like, I'm sure if you know this movie or love this movie, you're probably like, you guys didn't even talk about insert scene. But
I missed it.
It was, no, I mean, I probably caught it, but I probably was just like, why? Why is it necessary? Why did Russell have all these children living in this RV park? Like, all of that whole storyline, why? Why did any of that happen?
One of his kids was the daughter from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I did see that. She was the one who didn't want to lose her virginity. Or no, she didn't want to die a virgin. Matter of fact, the guy who was trying to mac to her in the RV park was one of the guys from Seventh Heaven.
Andrew Keegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty boy from 10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah.
10 Things.
Yeah.
So you don't want to die a virgin.
This could be our last line on Earth. You don't want to die a virgin, do you?
Oh, no, this guy's a creep still.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, again, there's so many things we didn't even discuss because it was just kind of like, why even go there? Let's just try to get to the meat of it. And even the meat of it was like, this is not even a very meaty dish. It's not a meaty dish. I'm still hungry. I don't really know. I don't really know. You know, it was a little appetizer. So
small bites.
Yeah. So just to, mirror Joel's sentiments, this is a 1 for me.
Let us know your rewind rating. I'm sure it couldn't be any lower than ours because it's literally not possible. You can reach us via email at rewindrewatch1990s@gmail.com. We are also available on all the social media sites at RR90spod. And we also have a Patreon that is available for our loyal listeners. It's only $5 a month. You will get exclusive episodes in addition to access to the chat to speak with us and the other subscribers.
And before we close out, I just want to give a special shout out to one of our listeners, Kristen, coming out of PA.
Shout out to Kristen.
She sent us a message on IG saying that she loved the Twister episode and that while she knows how terrible the movie is, it is still a 5 for her because it's still so good, in her opinion. She also said that she looks forward to listening to us every Thursday on her work commute. So we're glad we could help you drive to work and not be too miserable on the way there.
That's what it's all about. Thank you for that message. And we love to hear from you guys that have been listening, especially our weekly listeners. yeah, feel free to drop us a note wherever you see fit. Do you have any final words on Independence Day?
What happens if they do become hostile? Then God help us.
Yes, God help us. God help us all. Adios.
Later.